I'll figure something out.
Progress.
Hello, hello. Hopefully everyone can see us, hear us okay. Oops. This is our session getting started with MailerLite, and we will begin in a few minutes. So as usual, you will not be able to type in the webinar chat, but if you have any questions during the session, feel free to ask in the Q&A, and we have our panelist, Claudia, here to help answer questions, and myself and Alex will also jump into the Q&A to answer questions as well. Okay, looks like we are a minute in, so let's go ahead and slowly get started. This is our session getting started with MailerLite, the first one of the year. The session is really just meant for beginners or those just getting started setting up their account or starting to send campaigns. We're going to do a brief overview of different parts of the app, so hopefully this will help clear up any doubts. And like I said, feel free to ask any questions in the Q&A along the way. And the session is being recorded as well. So quick intro, my name is Harmony. I'm a customer education specialist here at MailerLite. I've been here for about 5 years, and hopefully I'm able to just clear up any doubts and introduce the app to you. And I also have my colleague Alex here, who will be hosting half of the session, and he is our MailerLite video producer. So if you have watched any of our tutorials, especially recent ones, you might recognize him there. Okay, so what we'll be talking about today in this session. Like I said, we'll be going over everything on a beginner level, so not going too in depth into any subject, but doing an overview of all of these parts of the app. So firstly, subscribers. We'll talk about importing as well as collecting subscribers. So importing subscribers into MailerLite as well as using MailerLite forms and landing pages to collect subscribers. Then we will go into campaigns. And then we will talk about both sending and automating. So sending a one-off campaign, just an email campaign, as well as setting up a sequence of automation emails. The whole session should be about an hour or less, but at the end, we will just answer some of the Q&A questions that maybe are left and just share some resources where you can find all of the information. But about an hour, possibly less. Okay, one of the first things I will mention before we get into any features, if you have just started with MailerLite, you've just signed up, you might still be on the 14-day free trial. Otherwise, you might be on one of our plans. So the 14-day free trial gives you access to a few of the different features on both Growing Business and Advanced. But the free plan has pretty much everything you need to get started, especially if you have under 500 subscribers. The free plan is a great place to start. You still have the campaign builder, so you can still send emails, still build automations, websites and landing pages with a limit of 10, which is pretty good for just getting started, as well as all of the reporting features, and you could still set up sign-up forms and like such as pop-ups. And then the growing business plan is for when you have a higher number of subscribers and you need a little bit more features. So there we have unlimited templates, more kinds of campaigns to send, so auto resend campaigns, no limitation on websites or landing pages, the unsubscribe page builder, so you can customize the unsubscribe page, more kinds of testing, as well as custom domains. And custom domains is usually a big one for upgrading because on the free plan, when you create websites, you do just have the default MailerLite domain, so the URL, but you can connect your own domain, your company domain. And then we have the advanced plan, and that's where you get into the AI features, more editors like the HTML editor if you're building with code, automations that can be triggered multiple ways. So we'll talk more about that when we talk about automations, but this is just more of an advanced way to build workflows, as well as unlimited account users and monthly emails. So this is really good for larger accounts who maybe have a team that is managing different things. You can have different users with different access, as well as unlimited amounts of email sending. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the overview. So in this overview, we'll go over these parts of the app, as I mentioned before. Subscribers, where contacts are managed, forms and landing pages, so list building tools, how you build your subscriber base, and then how you send campaigns and emails to your subscribers, both email creation and sending, as well as automation, so setting up email sequences. And I will hand it off to Alex in a minute to talk about subscribers, but first I will just talk about the basic thing of why building your list matters and the importance of good list hygiene, as we call it, or good deliverability as well. All of this meaning that the subscribers that you import into your account you do need to have their consent. So they either have had to sign up willingly, or maybe they purchased a product and they knew they were being added to an email list, or they attended an event and they knew that their email was being added. Either way, this is not purchasing a list or getting emails off of social media accounts or anything like that. These are willing subscribers that know they're expecting your content. Okay, and then now I will pass it to Alex to show the process of importing subscribers in MailerLite, as well as creating a basic basic sign up form, basic pop-up form, and the basics of landing pages. And I think,
All right, let me go ahead and get my screen share up. It'll be just a moment here.
oh yeah, and let me stop sharing. There you go. You should be able to do that now.
Everyone should see my MailerLite dashboard right now. And we're going to hop over to talk about subscriber management. So from your dashboard, what you're going to do is go over to the left sidebar and click on subscribers. And this is going to be where you can manage anyone who joins your email list. So subscribers are people who sign up for your list. If you have imported a list, then they're going to show up in here as well. So about import methods, there are a few different ways that you can add subscribers if you have a list and you're coming from a different platform. Maybe you've downloaded it into a CSV and then you want to upload that list here. So going over that, what you could do is go to this green Add Subscribers button if you're going to be importing. And once you do that, you'll be taken to the Add New Subscribers window. Again, we have different tabs up here for the different methods that you are able to add subscribers. The first one being to import from a CSV or text file. What you would do here is you can drag and drop that CSV, or you can click it and upload a file. One thing to keep in mind is that with the file type, you want to keep the columns very simple. So you have data like email, name, maybe location, and just very simple information like that in the different files. We do have a knowledge base article that you can reference when if you want to know more specifically about how to format files and how to import subscribers via CSV. We also have copy and paste from Excel. So again, over here, even you can kind of see what the columns need to look like. We have email address, first name, last name. Just keep the format very simple when you are doing the copy and paste method. In addition, if you're going to add just a single subscriber, so you don't want to upload, you don't need to copy and paste, but you just want to add a single one, you can do that here. So in the add a single subscriber tab, you can add their email and their name. If you have more fields that you want to add, you can click show more fields, and then it's going to show more fields that you can add for your subscriber. So these things are details that you could add in columns as well. You just need to make sure that you have these, if they're custom fields, that they are added in your account. You might notice that we have one here called pepperoni. We use that for a demo in one of our tutorial videos, but that was manually added to our account, and we have video tutorials on how to use custom fields as well. But yeah, if you're going to be adding a subscriber, add email, add their name, and then scroll down to the bottom. You can add them to a group if you would like, and then hit add subscriber. If you are importing a subscriber from MailChimp, then click over to the tab over here. And then if you have had a MailChimp account, you simply click connect MailChimp account, and then that will allow you to import your subscribers directly from that account over into MailerLite. And then we've also got import via API. So if you'd like to import using our API, then you can definitely go to the documentation over here and then take advantage of that import method. When you are importing subscribers, so these are people who didn't sign up via a form that we're going to go over in just a minute. But if you're importing directly from a list or you're adding a single subscriber, you want to make sure that every email is a valid opted-in email, so that they've opted in to receive communications from you. And this will help you to avoid like unsubscribes, bounce, or spam complaints and keep your list very clean. And that will help to keep your sender score like a little bit higher, so to make sure that your emails are not going into the spam folder, not being blocked by email providers, but it's going where they need to go. One thing that I want to go over as well within the subscriber tab are a couple of things, groups and segments. We're going to go over them very briefly because they can get a little bit confusing, and we have dedicated knowledge-based articles as well as video tutorials to go over the differences between groups and segments. But in a nutshell, groups are like you could think of them kind of like tags. They're manual and they were used for organizing subscribers. So, say if you have a specific sign up form, maybe that form you would add everyone to a group using that form. So, say it's like you're promoting a book launch or something like that. You could have a group called, book launch, and then everybody who signs up via that book launch form is going to be added to a book launch group. And that way, you know that everyone who subscribed in that group is interested in that specific, thing that that they were signing up for. Segments are going to be a little bit different. These are these will automatically segment your list based on a specific rule or a detail that you set. So say somebody did not open open an email in like 30 days, they're inactive. You could have a segment that would automatically apply to those subscribers um, automatically. And we have a couple of ways to automatically segment your list in the subscribers tab. So say if you want to re-engage inactive subscribers, like we had just mentioned, they didn't open in 30 days, simply click that one, and then it will tell you, it'll show you how to build that segment automatically. So say email actions, um, sent in the last 90 days and stats open rate equals 0. All of this complicated part, or maybe it seems complicated right now, it just means that they didn't open an email in the last 90 days. We're going to save that segment, and then anyone who has been on your list for the last 90 days and did not open an email in the last 90 days, they will be added to that segment, and then you can engage only those subscribers. So you could set up an automation, and then it would send out only to those subscribers. You don't have to touch that segment. Anyone who meets these conditions will be added automatically. So again, if you want to know more about groups and segments and how to use them, check out our knowledge base and video tutorials to learn more. But they're very useful, very powerful tools so that you can engage your audience where they are and have very personalized engagements with them. All right, so with that said, if you are not importing subscribers and you want to begin to build your email list from here, or maybe you did import and you want to have more tools to build your email list, we're going to hop over to forms, because that is going to be one of the primary ways that you're going to have people joining your email list, whether it's with a landing page afterwards or on your dedicated website. Um, and MailerLite offers a few different types of forms. You've got pop-up forms, embedded forms, and then promotions. And we're going to go over a little bit with pop-up forms primarily. Embedded forms are going to be the form that you would see on, say, a website that is static and it doesn't move. And I can do a quick demo of one of those right over here. So let's go ahead and preview what this looks like. So an embedded form, it's going to be pretty simple formatting as far as styling goes, but it's going to be a static form on a place on your website. So it's going to be very simple. Usually, like, you have your title and then your subtitle, and then they can enter their email. You can customize this, so you can collect more than one field. But generally, an embedded form is going to be just somewhere on your website that you can direct them to people. You can direct people to sign up to your list. Now, the pop-up form is going to be a little bit different. You can preview it, then we are going to go in and build one live here with you. So A pop-up form, actually, let's go over that. Let's go over building it live rather than just previewing it because that way you can get everything all at once. So, all right, so we're going to build a pop-up form. First thing that you would do is enter your form name and make sure that you have pop-up selected, then save and continue. Next, you'd want to choose which subscriber group you can add this to. I'm going to give it a moment to load here. All right, it is taking a little bit longer here. I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time trying to load a subscriber group. So what I'm going to do instead is go through one of our pre-made pop-up forms. Sorry to drag you guys around here. Let's go ahead and go over to this one here.
Yeah,
Alrighty,
sometimes
so
sharing the screens, I've noticed it takes a bit of time. So I think it's just, yeah, got no worries.
yeah, it can take a little bit of time, so I apologize for that. We do have a video tutorial on our YouTube channel that goes over these specific steps in a lot of detail to go with how to create these. What I was going to show you was how to add the form to a group because when you're creating the form, the next step would be to add it to a group. So over here, if you look on the screen, it shows groups, and then you can show which group people who sign up with this form will be added to. In this one, we've selected the demo group. Again, this is the demo account, so they're going to be added to the demo group. And then once you have selected your group, then you can go over to, I believe it's the design after that. And then after design, you can select the actions, like what's going to cause that pop-up to start up. So under behavior, so after you get through the design, and we will go through the builder here in just a minute, but I want to show you behavior is going to be how the pop-up appears to your audience. So when they go to your website or a landing page, what's going to cause that pop-up to show up? We can go over to edit behavior. So let's say you want to trigger, maybe you can wait 5 seconds before showing the pop-up. So they go to the website, after 5 seconds, then the pop-up can show up. Or you can have it set to when they scroll down to halfway down the page, then it shows up. There are different things that can trigger how this pop-up is going to show up. You can change the frequency. So how often is this pop-up going to show up to the same viewer? It can show up once a month. You can go to always or once a day, once a week. You can change that number of frequency depending on how you'd like it to be. You can even schedule it. So if you have a special promotion of some kind that you want this pop-up to work for, so say like Black Friday or Cyber Monday or Christmas or a New Year sale, you can have it set up for just a specific time. So you create the pop-up, you set it for when you want it to appear and how long, and then it will automatically work. Show up only during that time. So say Valentine's Day is coming up next month, you can have this pop up only show up for like say Valentine's Day weekend. So from the 13th, and then it'll run until maybe Monday, the 16th. And then automatically it's going to cut off and then it will go away. So you can have a special promotion that'll run only for that weekend and then it will disappear on your on its own. You don't have to set up anything um for that pop-up to pop-ups behavior. Sorry about that. Now, with behavior covered, let's go ahead and look at the design. So normally you'd be clicking on the next button down here as you create the pop-up. For now, we're just going to hop into the builder. Again, check out our video tutorials if you want to see step by step how to get to this specific place, but our builder will guide you through it as you create the pop-up. Once you're inside, you'll get a basic pop-up form template. It essentially looks like this. What I've done though is added this block over here from the left. So you can add an image and text block. You can add a heading. You can really customize everything about the design and styling of your pop-up. So if you want to edit the text, simply click into the box and then you can begin typing the same way that you would in any text editor. So if you've done any text editing before, you can make a title or a change just by clicking into it and then working on it from there. If you want other elements, so say you want to add a video to your pop-up form, simply click on the left sidebar, drag it in, and then you can add that kind of placement where you want. The video is not going to play directly in the pop-up window, but it will actually, let me take a look here and make sure. Yeah, it'll have a URL and it will, like when they click it, it'll take them over to the video directly and they can watch it from there. But yeah, we have many different elements that you can add directly into your pop-up. You can, when you click into a block, the way that you can customize features will be like just directly inside of that. And then if there's are any further customization options for this pop-up, then they'll be on the right sidebar over here. So you can change things like the pop-up type. You can change the width of your pop-up. You can also edit the background, so color, image. You can change the corner roundness. You can add a drop shadow behind it. And then you can also change the layout. So right now we have it on the left sidebar, but if you select different layouts, you can see where this like background image kind of thing will show up. By default, it's usually on the left sidebar. And you can have a default style or you can have a boxed style. It adds a little bit of a border around the edges. And you can change the sidebar style. So right now we have an image over there. And then you can have an AI generated image. I believe you'll have this feature in the 14-day free trial. And then if you are on one of our advanced plans, then you can also have this feature. You can have it set to a background color as well. And then you can change the position of as well of this image over here. So you can have it set to fit, fill. You can move it up a little bit or move it down a little bit, and then customize it a little bit from that perspective. So there's a lot that goes into this builder. But again, check out our knowledge base article or one of our tutorials to get really, really in depth with how to build this pop-up. All right, and then once you're done editing it, we'll click Done Editing. All right, and then when it comes to installing or getting this pop-up to show up on your website, so there are a couple of ways to do that. One is with a JavaScript snippet. And that would just be a copy and paste into your website builder. So say you're using like Wix or WordPress, then you would simply go down and select this JavaScript snippet. You'd copy it and then paste it above the closing head tag on your website. We're not going to demo that because every website is going to be a little bit different with how and where they show the HTML editor for that site builder. But look into your own provider's documentation to figure out where that is and how to get that installed. If you have one of our supported integrations like WordPress or Shopify, and you've installed it, then the header, this snippet will be installed automatically. And so then you'll be able to install, it's a little bit simpler to get them installed there. Again, check out the documentation within our form builder to learn more about how that's going to work for your specific use case. Alrighty, so that about covers forms. Once you have your forms, you are going to want to use them somewhere. So if you don't yet have a website or a landing page, then you're going to want to have it pop up on your site. And today we are going to go over landing pages very briefly. To get to the landing page builder, head over to Sites in the left sidebar. And then landing pages are going to be used like landing pages versus websites. Websites have many different pages within. So you'd go to like a website and then you have different tabs, kind of like this one, where you have like many different windows and tabs that will take you to different places within the site. Landing pages are a single page, and then you can use them for things like delivering lead magnets. If you have an offer or a promo of some kind, you can use a landing page for that. If you have a simple single call to action, like you just want to grow your email list, then the only thing on that landing page would be something like join my email list, and then that would be like what that page is for. So we're in sites right now. What we're going to do is click Create Site. Okay, and then make sure you have the type landing page is selected. We're going to name the site demo site and then click save and continue. All right, I'm going to give this just another minute to load because just as with forms, when you are creating a landing page, you're going to want to add it to a group as well. Because anyone who signs up through this page, like landing pages do have forms built in, so you can have an embedded form on your landing page, or you can have a form, or yeah, you can have an embedded form on your landing page. Anyone who fills out that form is going to need to be added to a group of some kind, and then this is where you can get select where they're going to be taken to once they sign up. Alrighty, so I'm not sure why this one is taking so long. Should I go ahead and just go into the builder?
There might be a specific thing with this group section. If you refresh or like go past this page, does that work or no?
The continue
Is it
button
gonna
is grayed
announce it?
out until it loads.
Refreshing it, does that no?
No.
Okay, well maybe look into this. I'm not sure if this is an issue that's happening within the app or if it's just because we're sharing screens and it's taking a while, but
I think it's just the demo account right now. Um
yeah, I
I've
think
done
so.
it in my personal, so this is yeah. But I can go over everything as before. And again, everybody, we do have we have many tutorials on landing pages, like more than one. And we'll try to go over as many of the features as we can. I apologize that I can't show the exact setup process live, but I will go over and mention steps as we go through the builder. So what I'm going to do is go back over to sites, and then let's see here. We can go into one of our templates. Let's pick a newer one. So this one is one of our newer templates. We can go into overview for now. All right. So normally when you go into creating a landing page, after you add it to a group, then again, you're going to be able to choose how you want to design your page. We have a lot of templates that you can go through. When you sign up, you'll be able to browse through our template library. This page that I'm going to show you is one such template. We have templates for many different categories. So creatives, e-commerce, if you're an author, if you have a like a just like a web store of some kind and you have a product, or if you're like an outdoor brand, we have so many different types of templates that you can use to create your website to get started. And for those who don't know, templates are a professionally pre-designed like page or just pre-designed like design that you can hop into and then customize. So you can customize the text, you can customize the images. These are extremely useful for getting off the ground with a design that looks really nice, like just right out the gate, and it can help you to save a lot of design steps. If you're like me and you're not actually a designer, then it helps tremendously to still look professional, and getting up and online very quickly. Alrighty. So again, we talked about the use cases for a landing page, how to design or the use of templates. Now, after you create that template, you would be taken to the drag and drop editor. Excuse me. All right. So to get there, we just clicked edit design. Normally, again, there will be a button in the bottom right corner that will say continue or create. Now, in the drag and drop builder, this should look kind of familiar. It's very similar to the form builder. One thing you'll notice with MailerLite is that we're trying to make all of our builders feel very familiar. So if you've edited in one, then it shouldn't be too jarring when you go from one to the other in your design editing. But when you have a template, you'll have the basic design. So this is all from this template. Alrighty. So you can see we have a title. We've got a little logo up here. We've got buttons added already. There are text blocks, image blocks. Everything is kind of added in for you. And all you have to do when you want to edit it is click inside and begin typing the same way that you would in any of our builders. When it comes to images, simply hover over the image once you click into it, and then you can go to this select image button, and then you can change the image into whatever you would like. This is going to be your file manager. You can upload images into here. You can group them into folders. Um, it's very simple. Like this is kind of where your media is going to live in your file manager. So you just select an image, you can click it, add it in there. I'm not going to do that right now, but you simply select insert and then it would go right into your design. I click the X to go back into the builder. To customize a button, simply click the button and then you can hit this link or attach. And then from there, you can change where this URL is going to go. Um, and then if you click on this button here, then you can say where you like this, where you would like the button to go. So right now we have it set to external URL. You can have it enable a pop-up. So if you have created a pop-up form, you can have that button bring this pop-up up on your page. You can have it go to a different page, landing page if you have another one, or a file. So if you want to deliver a file directly from your landing page, you could do that by either uploading it or selecting it from your file manager. For file types and things that are supported, again, we do have a knowledge base article and videos for how to use this function. So definitely go and check those out if you want to learn more about that specific function. Beyond that, again, we have elements on the left sidebar. So if you want to pick a different or want to add a heading, if you want to like just delete this one because you don't want to customize it, you can click and drag that in to your page. You can add social icons and social share. So those are already added for you here. But if you wanted to customize those and add, more images, add a video, add whatever, those are all over here. We've also got sections. So this is something that you could use to, it's like a bunch of different elements or blocks combined to in a design that is like a professional section or segment of a website that has had been pre-made. So you can kind of see a preview over here what those look like. So say if you want to have like this kind of a hero or header, you can simply click and drag that in. And this is again just for demo purposes. Like normally you would not have two of these sections on your site. But for here, you click and drag it in, and then you can customize this again. You click into the image, you can change the image, you can change everything by clicking into it, and it comes with some buttons over here. So you can customize this however you would like. You may notice that when we drag things in, they have colors already applied. That's because our account, this is a MailerLite demo account that we use. It has MailerLite's colors and fonts. You can set those in your account settings if you'd like to. So whenever you are working within our templates or in our builders, when you add something in there, it's going to have your brand settings already set up. All right, so for now, let's go ahead and get rid of this section. There are different sections. So if you want to add something like social proofs, if you want to add an FAQ, we have many different ways to customize and make these templates your own. So yes, the template has a specific design, but you can really customize it to make it look quite different from how the template looked so that it really feels unique to you and your brand. Highly recommend hopping in and giving it a try, messing around with the design so that you can really make it look custom to, something that you like and feels like it's your brand. But in addition, a lot of people are not only using desktop to browse websites, they do use mobile as well. our landing page builder has a mobile landing page builder as well built in. So you can see what it's going to look like on mobile. And one unique feature is that you can hide or show specific elements on desktop or on mobile. So say something looks kind of funny on desktop or it doesn't quite fit on mobile. Let's just drag in an element just because maybe there's a button that you want to put somewhere and you think it looks kind of weird on desktop or mobile. So right now we just drag that button in there. And then let me take a look here. When you edit it and when you drag it in on mobile, it's going to automatically hide on desktop, but then you can click show. So that button that we just dragged in there now shows up here on the desktop. Looks kind of like it doesn't quite fit in this block. So we're like, oh, actually, I don't want that to be shown when they view it on desktop. What you do is click that again, and then over on visibility, you can select how it's going to show up. So you can select desktop and mobile, desktop only, or mobile only. So we're going to set that to mobile only, and then bam, it is hidden on the desktop view. When you go to mobile, there it is. And then that is how you can show and hide specific elements. And then I highly recommend again, like preview your website, see what it looks like in both desktop and mobile. Um, this is the editor view. You can also preview. So if you want to preview what it looks like, click that button, and then it will take you to a preview of what your site is actually going to look like. So there you go. And then you can preview the mobile version as well. And there you have it. So that's a quick overview of our landing page. If you want to, again, collect emails, you can have the pop-ups set up. I'll show you how to add pop-ups to your landing pages here in just a minute within MailerLite, because we do have a way to do that here. If you don't want to use a pop-up with your landing page, then you do need to add that form to the page somewhere. So what you would do is drag in this sign up form block, and you want to put that somewhere. So let's just drag that over here for now. And then when you do that, the right sidebar shows up. You can add fields. So if you want to add their name, you can have, name and then email. Options for the form. So if you want to include a confirmation checkbox, GDPR compliant permissions fields, interest groups, things like that, you can add those all to over to this as well, based on just right on the side. You can have a message that shows up when they hit submit, or you can have a redirect to a success page or something like that. But there are different options to customize this form as well. But if you are not using a pop-up form, then you would want to add this manually. So don't forget that if you want to collect their email, you have to have a place for them to enter their email. And then, of course, I'd recommend to have some sort of text or copy that is going to tell them what they would get by filling in this form. Alrighty, so with that, let me see here. All right, URL. So if you're on the free plan, then you are going to get a URL that is like a default, like subscribepage.io kind of URL. Let me go ahead and go over that real quick. Right over here. If you are on one of our paid plans, and you can have a custom domain, so you could have your own domain over here instead of this the default one. Alrighty, so there you have all of that. Let me see. And there was that area where we can add. There we go. So the header code injection is over here, but for pop-ups and MailerLite, when you click on the settings for your page, analytics and custom code, this tab is on, but you're just gonna make sure that it is on if you have pop-ups that you want to work with, like MailerLite pop-ups in MailerLite landing pages. You can get those to show up just by making sure that this is toggled on. So I know that has come up a few times during Q&As in the past. So if you're working within MailerLite full, we try to keep our ecosystem working together very smoothly, but that is how you get over there, just to make sure that everything is working really well. So we'll go ahead and hit save and continue. And in a nutshell, that is landing pages. So again, highly recommend checking out our knowledge base and our video tutorials for how to go through and create and work with these. And then I'll go ahead and pass it back over to Harmony to go over campaigns and automations.
Great. I was still answering questions. Perfect. I will switch back over to my account. Just give me one moment. Thank you, Alex, for showing everything. Should have about 20 more minutes here, and I'm going to be talking about creating and sending campaigns, which of course is one of the main things you'll want to do. Um, just one moment. Okay, let me just go quickly back to our presentation and then I will go back into the app. So creating and sending your first campaign or any campaign. In the demo I will go over, so now we've added subscribers and this is how you can start sending emails to them. I will talk about choosing a template versus starting from scratch, adding content, so adding things like text, images, buttons, as well as how all of that is edited. Personalization, so this is when you can add your subscriber's name into your email as well as other information you might have. How to preview and test your email before sending it, and then sending it right away versus scheduling it in advance. I will also talk about automating welcome emails. This is also just talking about automations in general, but the example I'll be showing will be for welcome emails. And the difference mainly is that when you send a campaign, it is just one email that is sent when it is created or scheduled, whereas an automation is a whole flow. So it can be multiple emails, multiple steps. It is a whole sequence that happens. This can help save time, keep subscribers engaged so you're not constantly emailing people. It's all working behind the scenes. And we will talk about setting up, like I said, a basic welcome automation, adding a follow-up email, as well as the different workflow triggers, as we call them, or how a subscriber enters the workflow, the automation. Okay, let me go ahead and switch over to the dashboard here. So you should be able to see my MailerLite dashboard. I will go over to campaigns. And you can see campaigns and automations are in separate areas. They are two separate things. So let's start with creating a campaign. You can also create a campaign straight from the dashboard if you go to create and create campaign. But let's just go ahead and start from here. The sent folder, of course, has the emails that you have already sent out, and you can see the statistics. If you want to see more in depth, you can view the campaign report, and that, that shows the opens, the clicks, as well as unsubscribed, bounces, spam complaints. You have all the analytics here, including the email client, so Gmail, links, how often links have been clicked, all of that. That is when you have sent a campaign. Draft campaigns are those campaigns that are in the middle of being created or designed, so they haven't been sent yet. And then outbox are those waiting to be sent. So these can be those that were scheduled in advance. Let's go ahead and create a new one from this here, create campaign. And there's lots of different types of campaigns that you can create. Not all of them are available on the free plan. For example, auto resend campaign and multivariate are not available on the free plan. Regular campaigns, of course, are. This is just a regular email. It's not an advanced way of testing. A/B split campaigns are where you can send two different variations of an email. It's just a deeper way to test subject lines, content, things like that. For this demo, we will just go with regular campaign since that is something that everybody can access, free plan or paid. And it is the most common. So here you can see we have the option to start from scratch, and that is just creating a email from the default design, or we can choose from many different templates. So templates are available on the free trial, but they're not available on the free plan. So you will need to upgrade to a paid plan if you want to use more of the templates beyond the free trial. But in this case, I will just start from scratch so that we can see how the editor looks. We have three different editors. Drag and drop is going to be the most common, the most widely used, and the easiest to use. Rich text editor, also very easy to use, just not as many features. Rich text editor is mainly for those emails that are just simple text, so not a lot of, surveys, things like that. And then custom HTML, again, on paid plans for those building emails with code. Drag and drop editor is what we will use in this example. And that will take us right into the editor itself, which you can see here. So I won't be showing every single feature that we have, but I will show how this works. This is the default design that you will see, and everything that you're looking at can be edited. So text can be edited. You just simply click into whatever you want to change. So you want to change titles, that can be done. You can change the fonts, you can change the sizing, the formats, all of that. You can see that you can do here, and then formatting will also be on the right, just like this. Buttons, the same thing. You can click into the button to change the text. And you can see here, when you click on the buttons, the link symbol shows right here. And that allows you to either insert a link or insert a file. So when these buttons are clicked, either the specific link will open or you can actually have a file open as well. So if you're sending like free resources, that's one way to do that. Add a button, add a file or a link. You can also, of course, change the logo. If you have your default settings, if you have your logo in your account settings, that will also already be here. And there's always going to be a footer, which is the bottom of the email that has the unsubscribe link. That's very important. But you can add anything you want to the email itself. So you can add more navigation, you can add more sections. So these will allow you to drag and drop different elements. So you can add here, let's say, an image with text next to it to change the images that you see or to add an image to a blank area. You can see here, replace image comes up. All I'm doing is hovering over the images and then it says replace image. I click that and I'm into my file manager. So here I can go in, I can add images that I've already added to my file manager, or I can upload new images from my computer. Let's just add one as an example. Might take a second. And you can also change the size by in the corner here. You just drag and drop or drag and move to change sizes. As well, if you do want to add personalization, as we call it, or variables, so this is, you can add subscriber's name or any or any information. First, when you click here into the text, you can see this bar popping up. And there's an element here called variable. If I click that, all of these different elements come up. Email, name, last name. These are all of the fields that I have in my account. So some of these are going to be custom fields that I created myself. Others will just be fields that are already there. So of course, like name. So that means that if I write like name, comma, welcome, if the subscriber's name is available, now keep in mind, if you don't actually have your subscriber's name in the account, then it will not show up with their name if we don't have it. But if you've uploaded the subscriber's name with their email, or if when they signed up, they included their name, then that is how it will show. So it'll be their name and then whatever you have around it. And this is just one example, but you can add many different types of variables. So as well, if you are working with e-commerce and you want to build emails that have to do with orders or things that were purchased, You can also include things like that order type, purchases, total purchases, all types of different options there. Okay, you can also drag in different elements here. So let's say you want to add more text. Of course, you can do that. More titles, more button options, images, videos. We have audio options as well. And yes, you can add videos to emails. As Alex mentioned before with forms, it's similar here. The video does not play within the email. No, that's not a limitation from us. That's like Gmail and Yahoo. They don't really allow videos to be played within the inbox. So you just enter your URL here. That can be from YouTube or Vimeo, and that will take them to the video. If you want to move around anything, you can do that by using these areas here to either drag and move around the blocks, or you can use the arrows to move them around as well. If you want to edit a specific block and you don't just want to edit one or two elements, you can use the pencil icon here, which also will, so if you're in a different area and you click the pencil icon, that also brings up the edit options for only this block itself, not the email. And lastly, you can also delete blocks very easily, copy them, or even create dynamic content. This is a little more advanced, but this allows you to specify if only certain subscribers can see certain blocks. So let's say that you have an entire email, but you have only one section, one button, let's say, where you only want your VIP subscribers to be able to access. You can customize that by just making sure the block is set with dynamic content. So specific recipients, customize, you can also exclude, so everyone sees this except them, all like that. Preview mode is right up here. This allows you to preview the email both on desktop and mobile. Unlike the landing page editor, you cannot edit the mobile version itself, but it will be optimized. So the mobile version will always look as it should look on a mobile device, and then the desktop version will look as it should. The preview URL can also be copied and accessed in a browser, just like that. And you can also send a test email. So this allows you to send the email to your inbox so you can actually see what the email looks like, because though we do have a preview, sometimes the preview does not look exactly the same as it will in Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook, all the different inboxes. So sending it to yourself as a test is a good way to show exactly how it looks within the inbox. Let's wrap up this, and then I will go into automations as well. But what happens when you don't have URLs in your buttons? It lets you know. For this one, it's not an issue. Continue anyway. And here we get into the details of our campaign. So we have our campaign name. This is internal, meaning that your subscribers don't see the name, but they do see the subject. So you can add your subject line there, add emojis, customize the sender if you want to keep it as maybe your business name or add your name. Customize the sender email. Keep in mind the emails must be authenticated. I won't show the authentication process, but we do have lots of resources on this, both tutorials, guides, lots of resources on authenticating before you can actually send from your sender address. And then recipients here, that is, of course, how you choose who is getting the campaign. You can send it to everybody on your list that is active, or we talked before about segments and groups. If you have segments and groups that you have created, and of course you might not want to send every email to your entire list, you can just choose specific segments or specific groups or multiple, as you can see. as well as excluding certain groups or segments. So what that means is if a subscriber is in this group, but also in the excluded group, they will not get the campaign if they're in any excluded group. Okay. Oh, let me select some recipients here. And it looks like, oh yeah, it won't let me show here because of the domain, but that is okay. When you send your campaign, it can either be sent right away or scheduled in advance. Like I said, those that are scheduled later show up in the outbox and it shows when they're being sent. Those sent right away will show here and you can see all your stats in the report as I mentioned before. Okay, we might go slightly over for this demo, but I'm going to go ahead and hop over to automations. Automations and campaigns, similar but different. So here we see all of our workflows. These are workflows that are not complete. They are still being built. That's why they're in the drafts section. And then over in the workflows tab is where all of the workflows that are fully done, fully created are, even if they're inactive. So these have the opportunity to be activated, the other ones not yet. But let's create a new one. You can start from scratch or you can choose one of our templates. The templates are really great for getting started. You can see here that it gives you the outline of the workflow, but you can still customize it to your brand, your business, your email, all of that. It just gives you the basic outline. But here, we'll start from scratch. Demo automation. Once again, this is internal. This is not something your subscribers will see. And this is our automation builder. It actually was kind of recently updated. So a lot of this is new. Or just newer ways of, new way it looks, but the way it works is still the same. We start off with the trigger, which is how a subscriber enters the automation. So what do they have to do, basically, to be added to this workflow? Do they need to complete a form, join a specific group, maybe join a specific segment, click a specific link in a campaign? Updated field, that means if any information of theirs is updated, then they can also be added to an automation that way, as well as dates and events. So event anniversaries, birthdays, for example, or exact dates. And then if you have an e-commerce connection, you can also add e-commerce triggers. But let's go with one of the most simple, which is completes a form. On advanced plans, you can also add multiple triggers, so different ways that a subscriber enters the automation. Here, this would be if they completed a form or joined a group. Of course, under completes a form, we just choose which form. And that can be a pop-up form, an embedded form, or a landing page with a form in it. And then if they join a group, let's just choose a demo group, but we can choose multiple if we wanted to. Let's keep it like that. That means that this automation will start if a subscriber completes that specific form or if they join either of these groups. This is just an example of how an automation like this can be built. This would be great for a welcome automation because this will be something that they see when they first sign up and when they're first added to groups. And of course, after the trigger, we usually add an email. Triggers are here under triggers. Rules and actions come after. This is what happens after they enter the workflow. Let's go with actions, send email. This is as it sounds. Anywhere a send email step is added, an email will be sent. And here you can configure what that email is. So the name, the subject, everything. And when you click design email, that takes you right into the email editor that we just were in, that we just showed. So same exact editor, same exact flow, all of that. let's say you want to add more than one email. I will add two, and I will finish up the webinar very, very shortly. One last thing I want to make sure that I add here. If I add two emails, or more than one email, I should say, to an automation, you usually don't want to have them right after the other like this. You always want to add a delay in between, which is a pause. So the pause can be for a certain amount of days, weeks, hours, minutes, however you decide, and save. And what that does is it allows them to enter the automation, receive the first email, wait 3 days, and receive the second email. That is just a very basic way that an automation can work. That is an automation in itself. It can be more complicated than this. It can be a little more simple. You can add conditions, so rules to your automation, A/B testing, webhooks. You can also move subscribers around to different steps. You can also move them to specific groups when they hit certain steps, for example. And it is also very easy to just rearrange steps. If you decide that this email should be over here, that delay works better there, you can just drag and move them around. You're also able to test your automation in the same way you would test emails and activate it when it's finished. And that is basically it. When an automation is running, you can view the report, which, similar to campaign reports, that just tells you everything that's happening. So who's in the automation, who's waiting at a step, who's completed the automation, who was maybe removed from the automation for a certain reason, maybe they unsubscribed, all of those things. All right, and we are basically done here. Let me go ahead and just go back to our presentation so I can share some final resources, and then we are done. Thank you everyone for staying, for those of you staying to the end. I appreciate it. Oh, this was a promotion. Need to remove that. Let me just go ahead and talk about this real quick. If there's any other information that you are looking for, if you need help with MailerLite, if you want to know more about anything we talked about today, have a look. We have a knowledge base with lots of articles, lots of resources for you. Video tutorials, which we create new ones every week. Our academy, which we have older courses, but we're not really accepting, we're kind of redoing this at the moment. So I wouldn't wait for the academy to be updated, I would say. Our knowledge base and our tutorials are the best resource for updated info. Our community is also great. Highly recommend checking that out. Kind of like a Facebook group, you can interact with other MailerLite clients. People that are using the app can answer each other's questions, as well as customer support, which is available via email or live chat if you have a paid plan. And that is basically it. I saw many, many questions go through, but it looks like we answered the majority of them. At this point, I am finished with the information I'm sharing, so the webinar is technically done. I will just answer any questions that I think can be useful. Very quickly, I will talk about this. You mentioned going over segments during campaigns. Can you briefly mention it again? I can just show this because this is important, not only for segments, but just for campaign sending in general. So if we go back over to MailerLite and we're in campaigns, and we want to send a campaign to specific segments or specific groups, we can do that a few different ways. After we created the email itself, we ended up in that details page, or you can get back to the details page just here, drafts, details. And this is where you choose your recipients. So campaign details, recipients down here, and this is who receives the campaign. And you can see that the top one is all subscribers in your account, regardless of group, segments, anything. or you can choose specific segments. So if I do this, then it's only going to be sent to demo or groups. Same thing. That will only be sent to those subscribers in there. And you can see the recipients. Okay, so that is how you choose those recipients for groups. Someone asked, how often do you send a campaign per month? That very much depends on your business, your strategy. Some people will send campaigns once a week. Some will send campaigns once a month. Often your subscribers should know what to expect from you. So when you are signing up subscribers to your account, whether that's through a form or anything, they should kind of be aware whether they're getting content weekly, monthly, what type of content they're getting. And again, that really is dependent on your business. There's not really a right or wrong way. Of course, we don't want to just spam people with emails constantly. But depending on how your business runs, how your strategy is, what your newsletter is even about, it could be very reasonable to send multiple newsletters a month versus maybe just sending one. Makes sense. So I can't answer that as black and white. It really does depends on what your business is. Okay, I think that is about it. Someone says, how do I create segments? That is going to be in the subscribers tab here. So you see subscribers and segments is right here. You can also create segments by just choosing different filters. It's the same thing, but let's go ahead and just go with segments. Create. We also have these templates here. So if you are getting started with segments and you don't know how to really choose filters or what they even should look like, this is a great way to get started here. So you can see devoted customers, active openers, no opens yet, different locations. You can choose different ones or just create from scratch. And that will take you to those filters I mentioned, where you can choose exactly how the segment should look, what it should be. It can be anything. I want this segment to include, let's say, email actions. I want to see who has not opened or clicked an email in the last 30 days, or let's say longer. Let's say 90 days. Same results, oh, kind of. And then if I want to save that, you just save changes, and that segment is created. Now, there's that segment I just created. Keep in mind, segments are dynamic, so I don't have to add subscribers here or take them out or anything. If they match the rule, they're added to the segment. If they no longer match the rule, they leave the segment. That all happens automatically. So in this case, these are subscribers that have not opened or clicked anything in 90 days. If this subscriber opens an email tomorrow, then they will be removed from that segment because they no longer meet that condition. Okay, we have a few more questions. Difference between groups and segments. I believe I did add a knowledge base article about this in the chat, but let me just talk about it anyway. Segments are dynamic, as I just mentioned, so they will change based on if a subscriber meets the rules or not. They're all based on that rule. Think about it that way. A segment is all based around this specific rule, whereas groups don't have any rules. There's nothing that really dictates who goes in there except what you choose. So if I create a group, I don't have to create any kind of any rule for this. It's just created now. That's just a list I can now add people to. I can choose this group when I create a form, and I can say everyone that signs up to that form goes in that group now. That's just what I choose. Or when I import subscribers, I can say all the imported subscribers now go into this group. You know what I mean? So that group doesn't have to have any rule, just as groups, it just belongs to that group. So in the same way, for groups that are already created and have subscribers in them, do we have any? Yes. You can also easily remove them or add them. So for segments, you cannot manually take subscribers in and out because it's dependent on the rule. But here you can just click subscribers, actions, remove them from group, add them to group, delete them. So you can really move them around a lot easier. So that's the main difference. Is with segments, it's all about the rule. With groups, it's just a list that you can do almost anything with. Okay, I think that looks like the majority of the questions that we can answer. Yeah, okay, great. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. I really appreciate you asking questions and being involved. We will send out an email with the recording after this, as well as all of the resources we shared in the chat and just links to knowledge base and everything. Okay, everyone, hope you have a great rest of your day, evening, night, whatever, and we will see you in the next session. Bye, everyone.